Welcome to Triad News 360 for February 21st, 2018. I'm Paris Dunford.
And I'm Lexi Davis. Coming up, we will get into the school shooting in Parkland, Florida.
And an exclusive interview with the person who calls the shots at the Olympics. The county of Parkland in Florida is shook up after the recent mass school shooting, leaving families and friends devastated by the outcome, having to bury their children and loved ones without saying goodbye.
Suspect Nicholas Cruz entered Marjorie Stoneman Douglas High School and pulled the trigger. 17 were killed, leaving families devastated.
The broken hearts around America ached this Valentine's Day as news of another mass shooting spread throughout the country.
Triad News 360 went out on the streets to see how millennials view gun control laws and their ideas on how we as schools and a country should proceed.
Due to recent events happening in Florida with the school shooting, what steps should be made to prevent this in the future?
Honestly, I don't think, if you're talking about gun control and stuff like that, I don't think that would work necessarily, because people who want to do evil things will figure out a way to do evil things.
Adults should make their children more aware of what's going on and violence and stuff like that. It was kind of near my house, and my friends go to that school, so now I'm much more aware about violence. So I think everyone should be aware about what's going on. So
just having maybe a stricter gun policy and regulations, so that way we have more control over who's buying the guns and getting to use them.
I think gun laws definitely need to be in place. I think that's one of the biggest problems. I think we're one of the only countries that have the gun laws that we do, and I think that's the major issue. I also think mental health needs to be addressed. You know, a lot of students, teenagers, a lot of adults deal with mental health issues, and you know, needs to be addressed.
And do you have any thought about what should happen, what change should happen in order to help secure schools and make everything safer?
Well, currently the line of taking away guns I don't think is working right now. So I think arming our school staff would be a better approach to it, and it would help cancel out the time it would take for police to get there and on-time response.
Many people of all ages are fighting to find a solution to stop this violence.
Dozens of teenagers held a lie-in on President's Day. They laid down in front of the White House for 3 minutes, the same amount of time it took Nicholas Cruz to kill 17 innocent students.
They demanded their president and Congress change gun laws to keep children safe.
Remember learning the ABCs just so you could put together a couple sentences and words?
Children in Guilford County are behind on this, with literacy levels drastically low, but help is on the way.
Triad News 360 reporter Sydney Chevron has a story on a new program that helps kids learn to read.
Do you remember learning how to read? It started with your ABCs, but for children in Guilford County, even this step is difficult. According to GetReadyGuilford.org, nearly 1 in 3 children in Guilford County entering kindergarten are not literacy ready. This is where the Lena Start program comes in. Michelle Chapin, program manager for Ready for School, Ready for Life, explains this program.
They used research that was done around language and talk, and what they realized through this research, or what the research showed, is that many children hear, there are children who hear up to 30 million words less by the age of 3 than other children.
The Lena Start program comes with a technology similar to a Fitbit, but instead of tracking steps, it tracks parent-to-child interaction. Adriana Adams, family literacy manager at Reading Connections, explains this technology.
They actually wear a little recorder, a little recording device, and what it does is it doesn't record the actual words of the conversation. It records how many times an adult voice is speaking to a child voice and how many times that child voice is responding back.
Both organizations hope this program will inspire parents to help their children learn how to read. For HPU News, this is Sydney Chevron.
This new program has the potential to help families and young students get the best start possible in school and not look back.
Both programs hope to have long-term data to show the success of this program.
2018 is the year of the dog. In Chinese culture, the dog zodiac is the 11th of the 12-year cycle of animals.
According to Asian astrology, your year of birth and the animal it represents determines a lot about your personality traits.
The dog represents a true companion associated with loyalty, honesty, intelligence, and a strong sense of right and wrong.
According to tales and legends, the beginning of Chinese New Year started with the fight against a mythical beast called the neon.
The tales say it hides all year round and only shows up on New Year's Eve to eat people and livestock in nearby villages.
People later found that neon fears loud noises, fire, and the color red, which began the tradition of the lion dance, pasting red paper on doors, and lighting firecrackers to scare off this mythical beast.
The lion dance was performed all around the country this past weekend. Coming up next on Triad News 360, an exclusive view of NASCAR from behind the pit wall.
And is daylight savings worth keeping, or should it get kicked to the curb with all the confusion it brings? We'll be right back.
$11.5 billion is spent each year cleaning up litter among the United States. Cigarette butts account for 50% of all litter in America. Be responsible with your trash. Wait till you're near a park or gas station to safely throw away your trash in a trash can. We only get one planet. Stop the littering.
I want to eat apples and bananas. I need to eat apples and bananas. Why can't I eat apples and bananas?
Support the Feeding America nationwide network of food banks to help provide meals to those in need. Join us at feedingamerica.org.
Welcome back to Triad News 360. I'm Paris Dunford.
And I'm Lexi Davis.
The 2018 Winter Olympics in Pyeongchang, South Korea is going strong. Team USA made a huge entrance at the opening ceremony with a record-breaking 242 athletes, more than any nation has ever brought to a Winter Olympics. But while many people enjoy watching the Olympics from home, a lot goes into getting the sights and sounds back to you from the freezing slopes to the comfort of your home. Triad News 360 reporter Juliet Jacob caught up with the person who once called the shots and when everyone in America watched.
This past Friday kicked off the opening ceremony of the 22nd Olympic Winter Games. The opening ceremony of the Olympics is a time when all the world comes together to celebrate sport and national pride. It's a dream come true for the participating athletes, but it's also a dream to watch.
My favorite part of the opening ceremony is seeing all of the different countries represented.
But what does it take to televise this massive event?
Opening ceremonies, for me, directing that was probably the most exciting thing I've ever done.
I recently sat down with Joe Michaels, the director of the 2014 Sochi Olympics on NBC.
I don't get excited anymore when you go on the air, and I remember going on the air with the Olympics and just hearing the opening music, and I was thrilled.
Directing this event is a massive undertaking. It takes a keen eye to capture and televise the ceremony's magnificence, and it takes almost 2 years to plan.
I didn't get involved until about a year before, where I started to look at the venue, where I'm going to put cameras, and what I'm going to see.
This clip features some of the Sochi opening ceremony, where Joe Michaels was the one calling every shot that was eagerly viewed by 31.7 million viewers.
Anytime you're a part of any big event, you miss it, and the Olympics are probably one of those that you'll always miss. You'll always think about it. You always remember the ones you were at. So the Olympics are special, you know, they really are. It's just such a special event. And when you're working at the Olympics, you get to go to any venue you want to go and watch any Olympic, which is absolutely fabulous.
This year's Winter Olympics have officially begun and will continue through February 25th.
It takes years of experience to sit in the director's chair at an event like the opening ceremonies. And even then, you had better be really, really good, just like the athletes.
It's been 20 years since the United States women's hockey team won gold.
But they get their chance at 11 o'clock tonight, and it's against their biggest rival, Canada.
Clearly the two best women's hockey teams. The intense rivalry only gets better as it is for the gold medal at the Olympics.
The American men's hockey team is going home after a very competitive run.
They lost last night 3-2 to the Czech Republic and ended their medal hopes.
33-year-old Lindsey Vonn finishes her Olympics with a bronze in the downhill yesterday as well.
Daylight savings is scheduled this year for Sunday, March 11th at 2 a.m. It's the annual practice of moving the clocks forward 1 hour during summer months so evening daylight lasts longer while morning sunrises become later. In the European Union, there is a move to do away with the yearly clock changing. Triad News 360 went to the streets to ask people their opinions on the matter.
I think we should have daylight savings in the United States because it is a way to conserve energy and make better use of daylight.
I say that we don't really need it anymore, so I guess I agree. I mean, we used to use it back in the olden days for farming and stuff, but at the same token, we've had it for so long, I guess there's not really a point of getting rid of it.
I don't think that the U.S. should do the same. I think that if they did, it would mess up, like, how bright it is at certain times, I guess.
Okay, I think that the United States should keep daylight savings in place. I think our founding fathers were a lot smarter than the people now.
So when we gain an hour, I am happy about it, but when we lose the hour, it's a little frustrating.
Daylight savings began to help farmers bring in the fall harvest, but with corporate farms and tractors replacing horses, daylight savings has lost its original meaning.
An average person owns 1/4 an acre of land. Let's think about that for a second.
Statistics show that Americans consume approximately 100 acres of pizza a day, about 350 slices per second.
Triad News 360 reporter Kevin McMahon is waiting for us live to show us what eating pizza is really all about.
From downtown High Point, here we are in front of Jimmy's Pizza House. It's a beautiful Tuesday night here in downtown, and not a ton of foot traffic down here, but during the furniture market, this place is bouncing, it's bumping, and a lot of people are eating Jimmy's Pizza, but hey, there's some loyal customers in there tonight getting their grub on, so let's go take a look at it. Let's go see their manager, Litsa. She's going to let us know all about what's going on inside Jimmy's Pizza House, so let's go talk to Jimmy. So here we go. Beautiful place. I'm craving a pepperoni right now, I'll tell you that right now. Keep coming, keep coming. Okay, we're fine. Okay, so we're here, and you're the manager, correct? Yes. We're here with Litsa, the manager. We're here at Jimmy's Pizza House. We are in the way of a beautiful family meal. And so we just want to talk about coming down here. During the furniture market, it's probably bumping down here, but is it a little bit slow right now this time, or how are you guys doing right now?
Right now, we are actually starting to pick up from the winter time, from holidays and everything. Usually business starts to pick up around February.
But there's a lot of people in here tonight, so loyal customers are helping you out tonight?
We do have a lot of loyal customers. Hopefully, it gets a little bit busier before we close, but yeah.
All right, well, we're going to be here all night. We're going to be eating some pizza, so things are looking up down here at Jimmy's Pizza House. Back to you guys.
It's safe to say we like our pizza, but do we prefer one brand or style over another?
Jimmy's Pizza House in downtown High Point has been in business since 1972. The foot traffic downtown has decreased over the years, but this pizza house has some dedicated customers that keep on coming back.
Whether you are a fan of thin crust or deep dish, Jimmy's will always be remembered by the friendly faces and smiles behind the counter, and a nice cheesy slice.
And you can bet a lot of pizza was eaten in Daytona this past weekend.
Austin Dillon takes the victory lap into the winner's circle at the 2018 Daytona 500.
It is one of the biggest races anywhere and is also the first big event of the NASCAR season.
This year's winner, Austin Dillon, formerly from High Point, won his second Daytona 500 in a row.
Triad News 360 cameras were behind the pit wall during the race, and we'll have a more in-depth look at the race in upcoming shows.
Coming up next on Triad News 360, further updates on High Point sports.
And we will see how High Point fared against the number 6 team in the country for lacrosse.
How am I going to pay for this?
Well, Thomas, you've got pre-diabetes. But with more exercise and a change in diet, it can be reversed.
I've tried exercising. It just makes me hungry for bacon.
love bacon too. And who really likes to exercise?
Not me.
Me neither.
Nobody. So we're good?
What? Oh, you still have prediabetes. Big time.
Welcome back to Triad News 360. I'm Lexi Davis.
And I'm Paris Dunford. Joining us now is Triad News 360 sports reporter Ashley Brooke Daniels with all the Panthers scores. Ashley Brooke?
Thank you, Paris. Lexi. HPU men's lacrosse team was bolstered with confidence after a strong performance against defending national champions Maryland this past Saturday and hope to keep the momentum going against number 6 Virginia last night. High Point came out strong and was tied with UVA at the half, but in the second half, Virginia took the lead and never looked back in an 18-12 win. The Panthers are still searching for their first win of the season, and they traveled to New York to take on St. John's this Saturday. The High Point women's lacrosse team fell 14-10 on Friday in a tough home battle against number 7 ranked North Carolina, evening its record of 1-1 in the season. The Panthers keep it close with Darla Poland leading the way, scoring 5 goals. Next up, the Panthers host number 6 ranked James Madison on Saturday. Coming up off of a tough loss to Presbyterian this past Saturday, the HPU women's basketball team bounces back last night at home, beating Charleston Southern in a nail-biter 52-49. Lindsay Edwards led the way as she recorded her first career double-double with 15 points and 10 rebounds. This bumps High Point to a 10-5 conference play, 16-10 overall. And the Panthers hit the road on Saturday to take on Gardner-Webb. Tip-off is scheduled for 2 p.m. and you can watch the game on ESPN3. The HPU men's basketball defeated Gardner-Webb on Sunday 66-65. Senior Jordan Whitehead scored 12 points for a career high. The Panthers are now 8-8 in conference play and 13-14 overall. It's senior night tomorrow as High Point will host their final home game of the season against Longwood. HPU's baseball season got underway this past weekend at Willard Stadium against James Madison. The Dukes swept the 3-game series despite High Point's pitching staff allowing only 2 hits and 3-1 setback Friday. After the rainout Saturday, JMU took the doubleheader Sunday with scores of 5-1 and 4-3. The Panthers look to come back tonight at North Carolina A&T. The HPU track and field team wrapped up regular season action on Saturday at the UCS Invite in Winston-Salem. Caroline Bowanet set the personal best in the women's mile, and freshman Anthony Sasso placed 12th in the men's 800-meter. The Panthers will travel to Lynchburg, Virginia this weekend to compete in the Big South Indoor Championship. That is all for the Panthers updates. Lexi, Paris, back to you guys.
Thanks, Asha Burke. That's all the time we have tonight. Thank you for joining us at Triad News 360. I'm Lexi Davis.
And I'm Paris Dunford. And from all of us here at Triad News 360, have a good night, High Point.